Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're going to be checking out the successor to a product we checked out on the channel over a year ago. This was a product I thoroughly enjoyed, the Soul Built Marksmith. Since this uses the same inserts as the felt tip retractable Sharpie, any color you can find that marker in, the inserts will work on the Marksmith as well. It was also compatible with the retractable Sharpie highlighters, and even released a kit down the line that allowed you to use it with a lot of common pen inserts. So extremely versatile, extremely well built. Now, I typically use this one as a permanent marker. One, because I thought it was very unique that it was a bolt action permanent marker. I have plenty of bolt action pens, don't have any other bolt action permanent markers, so I like the unique factor of it. And then also, I happen to do a lot of mailing, both for YouTube, I do a lot of shipping, my day job, I do a lot of mailing. And so it's just nice to have an ultra premium permanent marker around. So most of the time, this just lives at my mail station and I just always have it around. And so that's really nice. But despite all that versatility, they would often get the same two requests over and over. And so they decided to address that with a brand new product. This is the Soul Built Marksmith Ultra Fine, and this is going to be launching on Kickstarter the same day this video goes live, October 29th. And the two requests that they're resolving here, first is going to be the size of the pen itself. Since this one started its life as a permanent marker, it's kind of the similar diameter as a permanent marker, which is significantly thicker than a lot of pens. So once you get that pen insert in there, it does feel a little bit off. It feels like you're writing with a permanent marker, but then you have that fine pen tip. And so a lot of people wanted to see a slimmer body on it, and they were able to do that with the Ultra Fine. This one's about 1/8 of an inch thinner. It's a little bit under 1/2 an inch in diameter, which is going to feel very similar to a pen, especially ergonomically. When you're writing, it just feels like a normal pen now. And so that's really nice. It did end up a little bit shorter, and so not significantly or really noticeably different if you don't have them side by side, but it is now 5 3/8 inch long, and it weighs 1.5 ounces with that insert installed, which is again a little bit lighter than the Marksmith, so a lot less cumbersome than the original. Now, the other request that they're fulfilling with this one is the insert itself. So a lot of people wanted the Sharpie Ultra Fine insert, so they do make retractable Ultra Fine Sharpies, and so this one is able to use the same inserts as those. And on doing my research with the Ultra Fines, I went down to Target and I saw that they had 8 packs of the retractable Ultra Fines with 8 different colors. And so it does seem like they actually have more colors available with the retractable Ultra Fines than they do the regular fine felt tip retractables. And so that's really nice. I typically only use black and blue. I know a lot of people like to use red, but either way, it's nice to be able to get those additional colors. Now, since I got this one early, I've had this for about a month now. Not 100% sure what the pricing is going to look like, but they did assure me that it's going to be in the same ballpark as the original Marksmith. There's not going to be any sort of huge markup or anything like that on these. And that, similar to a lot of campaigns on Kickstarters, they're going to offer early bird pricing and even super early bird pricing. And so with that, you'll be able to save over 25% off what these are going to retail for when they do the full launch. You'll not only be helping them launch this product, but you'll get it at a significant discount. You're going to get a little bit faster. Obviously, some people like to wait until it's fully funded and fulfilled and then order it. That means you're going to get it a little bit later than everyone who was able to pre-order it and at a higher price point. So do recommend, if you're planning on picking one of these up anyway, check out the link in the description or the pinned comment. Again, I don't have them at the time of filming this video because those links don't even exist yet, but as soon as those do become available, I'll make sure to get those updated. Now, the other nice thing about these, like I mentioned earlier, ultra premium, you can see it does have the channel name engraved on there, Uncommon EDC, just like the original. I doubt that's going to be offered through the Kickstarter just because that'll kind of delay fulfillment of these, but I'm sure it will be available once this is fully launched as well. All titanium body, and as far as I know, these are manufactured fully in the USA. They don't advertise that. As far as I know, that's in Georgia, but the reason they don't advertise it is because it uses common inserts. So in this case, that ultra fine insert, and this is manufactured overseas. It's a major component of the overall package. Obviously, we have the titanium body that's machined here, but about half of that overall package is going to be the insert, which is manufactured overseas. So they're not able to advertise it as made in the USA. It does come with one of the black inserts extra and one installed. And so you can buy them on their website, at least if it's anything like the original Marksmith. You'll be able to buy the refills on their website. I think it's like $5 for 2 or 3, so pretty affordable. The other nice thing is you can just go to anywhere that sells permanent markers or stationery and buy the equivalent version from Sharpie and just cannibalize the insert. You just cut it right out and just make sure you don't damage that insert, and you can put it in here. So this is out of titanium. You really can't see the seam because of how well machined this is, but as soon as I twist that, you should see it pop up. So now we can see that seam. Really, really easy to swap it out. Just pull one out, put the other one back in, and you're good to go. We have our mechanism that's also our pocket clip, which is another cool feature. So the thing about standard Sharpies, the thing that this is addressing and kind of making it worthwhile, besides it being an ultra premium, and sometimes we just like ultra premium stuff, I'm speaking for myself here, but it does address some issues with the regular Sharpie. The first with the cap versions is you have to keep track of that cap. You either set it down and lose it, or you keep it in your mouth or toss it in a pocket. And so it can just be kind of annoying to keep track of. So the retractable version is nice, but Sharpie's equivalent has the click on the back. And so the mechanism for deploying and retracting that ink is on the top of the pen. And so when you put it in your pocket, that pocket clip is going to catch on your pocket, and the natural thing to do is press right on the top of the pen, which is then deploying the ink and just destroying your clothes, whether you put it in a pant pocket or a shirt pocket. It's exposing it to that permanent ink, which is always super annoying. And so by the mechanism being the pocket clip itself, when you slide this into your pocket, you're putting pressure directly up on that mechanism, ensuring that it doesn't deploy in your pocket. Now, of course, it's still possible that you forget to close it and put it in your pocket, and that's going to be unavoidable, but that would be unavoidable with any pen. But at least with this one, it's kind of preventing those accidental discharges in your pocket. And then when it's kind of open, you will notice that the pocket clip's a lot lower, so it should be pretty obvious that that's happening. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the pocket clip on here, I mentioned this is extremely well machined, and some people might get this and think this is a QA issue or an issue with the machining, but this is actually an intentional choice, so I did want to point that out. And that is that there is some play with the pocket clip when it's retracted. Once it's deployed, it's under spring tension, so no sort of play, but when it's retracted, you do get a little bit of play. You won't notice that in your pocket, or if you put this in a pouch, it's gonna kind of lock it into place. But the reason that's there is because these inserts have to be fully retracted in order for them not to dry out. And just a little bit of spring tension, even though right here, it's not exposing that tip where it can accidentally ride on things or even be seen outside of the pen body, the tip is now exposed to air and it's gonna drive out extremely quick. And so they had to make sure that it's long enough that it's not putting any sort of pressure on that insert. And so that seems easy enough, kind of set it to a standard size. You can probably minimize the rattling. The other issue though is that Sharpie really doesn't machine these to extremely tight tolerances because they don't need to. You'll notice the same thing, like I've done videos on Sharpie cases for the capped versions where you can just slide them in. And if you have an accurate caliper, you'll notice that the thickness difference is hundredth of a millimeter. So not really anything that you're gonna notice to the naked eye or even feel in the ergos, but sometimes one will just kind of fall out of the case and you have to put tape around it to match the thickness. And the reason for that is they really don't need to care about the tolerances since we're not gonna notice. But that means that sometimes these inserts are longer, sometimes they're shorter. So they have to make sure that that clip is tall enough for the highest variance of these inserts. And so you're always gonna have a little bit of play there. The only time you're really gonna notice it is if you're someone who kind of fidgets and spins around with their pen a lot. But again, when it's deployed, it doesn't happen at all. And then when it's in your pocket, it's clipped, it doesn't happen at all. So really not a super noticeable thing. But I did want to just kind of make sure to point that out for people who may not like that. I know some people are really iffy on their machine tolerances and stuff like that. But again, that's not something that's gonna get corrected in the production run because they did that intentionally. So did want to make sure to point that out. So last thing here, again, 100% titanium body, that's including our clip and the body of our pen. Last thing here is a writing sample. If you've ever written with one of these ultra fine Sharpies, you know exactly what it looks like. So this isn't going to be super helpful, but I figured I might as well show it just for those who've never used one of these. And so inky, but not as bleedy as your regular Sharpie, and also a lot more fine, so your writing is going to be a lot neater when you're writing on kind of like a smaller medium. And so my writing is already sloppy, so that's not doing it any justice, but you can see the ink itself, super smooth, not super jumpy or anything, and a lot crisper and cleaner than your regular felt tip Sharpies. And so that's it for this one. Would love to know your thoughts on it down in the comments. If you want to get in on this Kickstarter, they typically last, I think, 30 days, and so I would try and get in on it because you're going to get a decent discount and also get it a little bit earlier than if you wait for it to launch. Would love to hear your thoughts on it though in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member, or watching one of my previous videos. All help the channel out a ton. And as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.